everyone, my name is Zach REDRUP, you're listening to the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by vocalist Benji Mars and guitarist Mike Hawkings of Waterlines. We discuss how the band formed from the end of another project, their views on social media, how their set at last year's Bloodstock Festival brought a wave of new fans, their cover of Pretty Green Eyes, plans for new music, and loads more. Now, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast and you want to show your support, there's a few ways that you can do that. Number one, leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. It takes just a few seconds and it really does help. Number two, share this on your social media, whether that be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Or number three, if you want to go the extra mile, you can pay a little bit each month to join the Patreon, and in return you'll get access to episodes early along with some other perks, or you can pick up some merch from the store. All the links to that and the podcast socials where you can follow us can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now with all that out of the way, let's jump right into this week's episode of It's Not a Phase. What's up everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of It's Not a Phase, where I'm joined by Benji and with Mike from Waterlines. How you both doing, guys?
Very well. Very January.
It is very
January.
It's too January.
We're deep into January right now, and it's too January for my liking.
Yeah. How was your Christmas and New Year's? What did you two get up to?
To be honest, I had one of those amazing Christmases where I did a right fat load of nothing. It was great. I became one with the couch, and I played a lot of PlayStation. And to be fair, we wrote some sick tunes as well. But no, it was just, calm, chilling with the family and that, and seeing a bit of the parents and the family, spending a little bit of time with the little boy. It was nice, man. It was nice. It was good.
Nice.
Mike, tell me you did something interesting to spice up our rock stardom.
Nothing rock story, I'm afraid. Nothing rock story. But yeah, me and my brothers and my parents were there with our associated lady friends, and it was all very, very lovely. And it was just what you want from a Christmas, really, I must say.
Wholesome holiday period.
Heartwarming, wholesome. Yeah. I would say that describes Waterlines to a T, really. Heartwarming, wholesome, good, clean, family fun.
Wholesome core. That's what you are.
Yeah. And we can I was going to go for whole core, but then I thought maybe we can workshop the name. We can bounce it around.
We got the foundation there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, you guys are still a relatively new band, even with kind of the beginnings. I'm just going to kind of set the foundation. So the band was called Sertraline. There was a
Mike, you said it.
I said it.
I've done it already.
I said it.
We can go now. Yeah.
And then you came from a band called Solar Shift, right? You came into the band. I think it was it March 2022?
You know better than me. That is some impressive homework.
I've done my research.
Nice. That is impressive homework. Do you know what? I believe you.
Yep.
It was March 2022. That's what it was.
I think, if I'm correct, your audition was on the 13th of February, I think.
Ooh.
Now that is some impressive remembrance.
I was at a wedding the day before, and then I was thinking, we're auditioning this guy tomorrow. We didn't, no idea who you were.
And that's not true, Michael.
Well, we knew you a bit because I've been listening to Solar Shift quite a lot, and in the meantime, I was a fan to begin with. Wait, it's impressive. He by accident interrupted someone else's audition with a 4-pack of beer in his hand. He just blew in like a tornado, and that set a precedent for the rest of our relationship with Ben.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever been to Redwall Studios, Zach? Is that your neck of the woods? All right, okay. So there's couple of different studios, but one of them's got double doors. As you come in, there's a big pool table in the middle. There's a couple of studios around the pool table, and one of them's got big double doors. So I was kind of toying with some different ideas in the car on the way over. And I was like, I've got a good chance here to dictate who I'm going to be in this band and where I'm going to set off on this band. So I decided I was going to go full diva. So I strolled out of my car with my shades still on inside and a white jacket, and I just strolled on and I booted these double doors, and I walked in with my 4-pack of beer and said, "Hey lads, who wants a beer, you bunch of pussies?" And then Mike turns around and goes, "Sorry dude, do you want to just give us 5 minutes? This guy's actually auditioning." And I was like,
So it was more your entrance that sold him coming into the band than his actual vocal talent.
What vocal talent? What a ridiculous thing to say.
that's been most repeated, I would say.
Yeah, I reckon. To be honest, I reckon that's a lot of what the new iteration Waterlines is about. Is like, we don't have to be very good musicians if we put on a good show. That was the standard. we wanted to, yeah. I certainly wanted to like bring that. That was my gift to Waterlines, was just bringing a bit of like my personality. I'm a whirlwind of a man. Like I said before, I'm particularly difficult to love because I'm just all over the place all the time. Very rarely thinking about the same thing for longer than 7 seconds. So I wanted to bring a little bit of that to Waterlines and like just make it a bit, all over the place and a bit fun. And it has been. It's been wild, man. It's been wicked.
That is one of the core differences between what we are now and what we were. A completely different attitude and way of going about things. And it's paying off really well, I would say. More fun than it's ever been.
Yeah, I guess like at the start, like I guess people were calling it like a rebrand, but to me it kind of seems like it's a different band. That's the way it seems. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. When I first joined the band, I joined virtually, and when we wrote Halo, we kind of we wrote it and we recorded it and then we played it live, and we kind of we all sort of looked at each other and went, "We're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. This is a different animal entirely." And we thought we'd probably be doing Sertraline a disservice to do what we were doing, which wasn't Sertraline, and probably doing Waterlines a disservice to write the new tunes that we were writing and in the new style that we were writing under the Sertraline brand.
Yeah,
we felt it was definitely more true to us and more true to the music and the style. So, like you say, just start another band, man. And we had to start from scratch in some respects. Luckily, we were able to bring a lot of the socials over, which meant that we could bring quite a lot of the fan base over, which was really nice. That's a good little leg up, as any budding young band is going to know. Socials are hard. Socials are tough, man. They take a lot of work. So to let a couple of thousand followers go would have been, that would have been heartbreaking. Luckily, we did manage to hold on to him, and we've now got a social media goddess who manages our socials for us and keeps them fresh and keeps them banging. We've got a TikTok now. 6 months ago, I didn't know what TikTok was. I still don't know what TikTok is, but we've got one and it works.
Very, very modern.
I despise social media. I hate it. It makes me uncomfortable. I just don't like it, and I don't like having to be on there all the time, and I don't like having to keep everything fresh and keep the content going every 5 minutes. And look, I love connecting with people, and I like fans, and I love getting to know fans, all that sort of stuff. But the constants, the constant wheel of social media is really tough for me. I find that really difficult to do and handle. So having someone come along with great ideas, who knows how it works and knows how all the sciencey bits like the algorithm work, but also at the same time is creative and can do videos and can do photos and all this other mad stuff. It's just been an absolute breath of fresh air. It's honestly, that has changed my opinion and changed my experience of being in a band. It's been wicked.
You like the social part of social media, but not the media part of social media?
I think for me, I just kind of, I find it a really difficult line to walk. My rule of thumb has always been that Waterlines is not a person, so it doesn't have any opinions. Waterlines as an entity doesn't have opinions. It doesn't have, it doesn't have a personality. So it's really difficult to sort of keep one separate from the other. When it comes to social media, it's quite difficult to keep your personality and your opinions and your different views on life away from Waterlines. So I'm totally inactive on social media in my own time. I have Facebook and I have Instagram, but I do very, very little with them. So it wasn't natural for me to move into band social media. I found it, I just find it uncomfortable. It's just not really for me.
What about you, Mike? How are you on the sphere of social?
I consider that whole thing to be incredibly ugly, but it's very good in the way that we're trying to use it. For example, a good few months ago now, one of our videos on TikTok reached over 100,000 views. And on the Spotify for Artists app, that we can see various numbers with, there was a great big spike, and then and our monthly listeners went up by about 1,000. So in that respect, trying to be consistent as possible and making interesting stuff and being regular with how you post it has visibly improved and grown our listenership. So to do that with it can only be a good thing. But in terms of the controversy or anything like, or drama or old gossip, I'm not interested. There's been this big thing about Sleep Token being unmasked and stuff. Stick one of their albums on. I like them, but I don't really care who they are. I don't like that. It's a tool. Social media is a tool.
I think if you can stick to that, I think if you can stick to social media being a tool and being a springboard from which to launch your brand as a band, as musicians, then I think it's great. I think it's wicked, and I think that it kind of comes from two angles. The good part is that social media makes it really easy for you to be discovered. The problem is that it makes it really easy for everybody to be discovered. So there's so many people. Social media is so vast, and there's so all these different platforms and all these different people who use them, and it just becomes this huge soup of people that is impossible to make your way through. So there will be bands out there that will be the best band you've never heard, and it's that I think you've got to. There's probably a little bit of luck involved in getting found on social media and going viral or whatever. But I think what I've noticed since talking to people like Vic, who is Unholy Socials, and Marianne, who is our manager, I think what I've noticed is, yes, there is a lot of luck, but I think there's a lot more planning and a lot more science to it than I originally thought, which, certain people will just get. And certain people, myself included, just don't.
And it's changing so quickly as well. Vic was telling me about a band that she went to go and meet a few months ago now. They don't even bother with Facebook because it's in the past now. They don't see the point in Facebook. Whereas Marianne still thinks Facebook's really valuable. And I do to an extent because we still get a fair bit of engagement on it. But we're more focused on TikTok, more focused on Instagram, that kind of change.
You just got to move with the times, haven't you? You got to move with the times. Like I say, 6 months ago, I didn't even know what TikTok was, and now it's probably one of, if not the most used social media platform. It's probably one of the most well engaged. Like the amount of people engaging with these different videos and stuff, it will be eye watering. It's mental. So being at the cutting edge and listening and paying attention to all of these different things that are coming out and there as a tool for you to use is a full-time job in and of itself. So it's been a breath of fresh air to have Vic on board.
And I guess with social media and you wanted to keep those kind of followers because, like you say, it is hard to kind of build that following up. And I guess that's one of the pros of you kind of mentioned it before. Like if you've essentially started a new band and it's kind of like getting that first foot through the door is going to be difficult, and you want to, you're in this new name, you want to be associated with this new sound and these new songs, and you don't want to kind of confuse the fans of the old name, we're the same band now and we're going to play those songs. You're completely separated, but you don't want to, I guess, start right from the bottom floor. You want to be at least a few floors up.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm the first to admit that being able to start Waterlines with 6,000 followers or whatever we had is an absolute cheat code. I'm the first to admit that. But it happened to me, so it's fine. If any other band does it, oh God, no, cheating, unacceptable. But it was me, so it's fine. But it was really lucky for us. I mean, the Instagram and the TikTok and stuff weren't the same thing. There were a couple of followers on Instagram, but it wasn't what the Facebook was. The Facebook had 6,500 followers on it. So it was really valuable to us to be able to keep that and have a platform to springboard off. It was really useful to us. But having said that, at the same time, I would imagine we will have also put ourselves and our music in front of fans of Searchline who will have, who won't have liked the direction that we went into and instantly will have gone, nope, not for me, thank you very much. That did happen, There were people who followed Searchline and will have seen, Halo Around the Horns and whatever, and specifically Koenig, which took a a big detour in another musical direction. There will have been people who saw that and just thought, you know what, not for me, moving on. And they did, and that's fine. Luckily, what we have been able to do with a slightly, a slightly bigger platform, is the ones that we've lost have paled in comparison to the people that we're bringing in and have been enamored by the Waterline sound, which personally for me, I think is a good niche. There's not many people who are doing a similar thing to us, and even people who are doing a similar thing to us. I think we've got a niche. I think we've got a really nice musical fashion sense, shall we say, that's very ours. It feels very unique to me. I think that even when we do stuff, we get likened a lot to things like Eskimo Cowboy, right, who are doing the the whole dance metal thing, which we like. We love a bit of dance music. We love a bit of all these different genres of metal. Half of Koenig is a trap beat, half of Prey is trance drums. It's mad, and we like to throw in all these different things. But I think I can fairly confidently say nobody is quite doing it like Waterlines, which is nice. That feels nice to say.
The live show's not to be trifled with either. I do say so myself. We are, I believe, 100% success rate on mosh pits and getting people to kneel down, jump in the air, and there's a party we've not released yet where everyone jumps from side to side. That's never failed. It's a party playing live.
I think that's the way round you want to be. Obviously, you'd love to be incredible on record and incredible live. Obviously, that is the way that every band wants to be.
Yeah.
But if you want one to be ever so slightly better than the other, I think you'd rather it be live.
Yeah, definitely.
We'd rather be that people say, yeah, I really like Waterlines music, but live, that's the way round you want it to be. And yeah, I think we've done all right so far. We always do a little thing when we're on stage, and we'll get to the end of the set, and I'll say, who's ever seen Waterlines live before? And the whole room will go silent. And then I'll say, who's gonna come and watch us again? And everyone goes, yeah. It's quality. It's really good. Like, it's quite nice to fly under the radar a little bit at the minute. We're doing all right, and people pay attention when they come and see us, and we're making new fans every day, and it's really nice. But we're probably still flying under the radar a little bit. There are people who simply haven't heard of us yet, which is fine. Like, we've released 5 tracks. We're still a new band, so it's okay. But it's nice to walk into a room with next to no fans and walk out, and almost everybody in that room says, these guys were good. That's what it's all about. That's what dreams are made of.
Yeah, you talk about the live show. I mean, I wasn't there, but I've seen footage of the Bloodstock set from last year, and that went a bit mental. I think, weren't you carrying someone over the barrier because there was no security or something?
Yeah. So Bloodstock was wild. So we played the Jägermeister stage, which it's tiny. It's right. The smallest stage at Bloodstock.
You have made it bigger. It's bigger than I thought it was.
I believe they've expanded it a little bit, but it's tiny. It's a bit, but in comparison to the main stage and the tent stages and stuff, it's small. But it's right in the middle of the arena. So it's next to the main stage, and it's directly in the path of anybody moving from the main stage to the Sophie stage. So the foot traffic is unbelievable. If you can make a good noise, people will hear it and they will come into that tent. So we didn't really know what to expect, because Bloodstock's always sort of had its name as being a very classic, very traditional music festival. There's a lot of old school types of metal there, which is great and wicked, and it's got its own little niche. But we weren't sure whether we'd go down as well as we did. So we got in and we set up, and the first thing that you notice is there's a crash barrier at the front, but there's no security in that tent. So every other stage will have 5, 6, 7, 10 security guards. Main stage, 20, 30 security guards lining the crash barrier at the front, watching out for, obviously issues in the crowd and stuff, but at the same time watching out for crowd surfers and all that sort of stuff. And there's none in the Jaeger stage. They simply don't expect crowd surfers. It's just not done in there. Nobody does it. So we kick in, and literally in song 1, like getting to the end of song 1, there's a crowd surfer, and I'm seeing this person going along the crowd, and I'm thinking, I don't know what to do. We've got no security here. they're going to get to the edge of the crowd and they're just going to drop them over the barrier.
Yeah.
So I'm at the front. I've got my mic in one hand and I'm like leaning over, trying to put my arm over this person who's coming over the crowd in my other hand. And we had the sound engineer and the stage manager, and they just like both put on high-vis jackets and ran around the front. And I think for the rest of the set, we just had to hope that the sound was all right because we didn't have any sound engineers. There were security guards. So yeah, we had crowd surfers all over the place. We must have had 50 coming over the front. It was insane. There were people bouncing and like Mike says, we do this thing in one of our songs where we get everybody to join up left to right, and we call it a daisy chain, and everyone joins up and then we start bouncing, and we bounce to the left, and then to the right, and we had everybody in the tent doing this. And then the stage manager sent us a message on Instagram the next day and said, "You bunch of twats, you've broken my tent. I've had to come and get health and safety out to come and realign the king pole because it's all bent."
Oh gosh.
So yeah, I take that as a badge of honour that we went to Bloodstock and we broke the stage.
It was special, that gig. I think we were just sort of in shock afterwards, and seeing the whole crowd jump from left to right. I don't think I'll ever forget that. I think that we did it the month before at SummerSlam in Manchester, and it worked then. And we thought, imagine if it goes like that at Bloodstock. It was about 10 times bigger. It was just bonkers. Good though, so we'll be chasing that for a while.
I remember. So I had never crowd surfed before. I hadn't crowd surfed as a punter. I'd never crowd surfed at all. And we got into, I think it was the last song, and I was just like, "This tent's packed. I'm going for it. Let's go." So I'm out crowd surfing with my mic, and I'm trying to sing whilst crowd surfing and all this. And then I got back on the stage, and then the set finished, and I went over to our drummer Si, and he said, "Were you crowd surfing while you were singing?" And I was like, "Yeah, like, did you not see me? Were you not watching?" And he was like, "Yes, I was watching, but was it real?" It was mental. It was mental. What a gig. I'll never forget that show. It was quality. And, we got a good amount of feedback. Got a lot of people saying, "Oh, get back." And
good.
I think we've definitely had a little army who've been pestering Bloodstock to get us back and get us on the Sophie stage. So if we can keep that up, hopefully that'll be a step up.
You just got to get past that peak now. You got to break it.
That's it. We've hit glass ceiling number 1. Just got to break through it and crack on now.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to be about. To be honest, we've noticed it already. We went on a tour in April, little weekend, 4 days, and we played some really good shows. Played some lovely people, but I don't think that anybody would mind us saying we played to almost no one. It was very, 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 very small crowds. Nobody knew who we were. And then after playing Bloodstock and releasing some tunes and stuff, and then we went out on another weekend in September, and we were in London at the New Cross Inn, which is a wicked little venue, by the way. And we were chatting to these two guys outside, and they said, "Oh yeah, we've come to see you today. We've travelled to come and see you." And I was like, "Oh, nice. Where have you come from?" "Coventry." Yeah. 2.5 hours to come and watch us. That is humbling to the nth degree. And I remember we played Leeds in maybe like November, something like that. And I was chatting to this group of people outside. There was, I don't know, maybe 3 lads and 3 girls. I think like all together, a little friendship group. And we were watching the band before us, a band called Only the Righteous, who, if you've never seen live, by the way, are wicked, really good live. And we were watching them, and this little friendship group were kind of in the middle of the room, and they were all dancing together and all sort of like mosh pitting and bouncing around. So when they packed down off the stage, I walked outside and I was walking over to the bar to get a drink, and I walked past this group of people and said, "Oh, were you guys just in there?"
Oh, I think we lost him.
Try and finish the story if you like.
Go on then.
And they will have said, "Yeah, we've come to see you. We saw you at Bloodstock. We've travelled ages to come and see us." So people, damn near every show we've played since Bloodstock, people have come from that festival to come and see us.
It's crazy, like just the impact of that, just one show can make.
Yeah, it's literally paid as an exposure. Oh, he's back. I just finished your story.
There you go.
That was all right, wasn't it? Oh, that was bang out of order.
Hero.
Did Mike finish my story for me?
He did.
Was it great?
It was.
Great.
Yeah.
Was everyone in shock and awe?
No.
So anyway, I'm going to tell it again anyway. No, I won't. But, yeah, no, wicked. Cool.
I was just saying, like, it's just it's crazy how the impact of that one Bloodstock show has made against you guys, and also, you've only put a few singles out so far, and you've still like made such an impact in terms of like these listeners and this following that you're getting as such a young band.
It's wicked, and I remember seeing an interview with Adam from Bloodstock, and he was chatting about the Metal to the Masses, and he was saying that the whole a large part of Bloodstock is not just bringing these huge bands for people to see live, but it's giving smaller bands and up and coming bands and little baby bands and that, and just giving them a springboard. He doesn't, he was saying, I don't want people to see Bloodstock as the pinnacle. I don't want them to see Bloodstock as, once you've hit Bloodstock, that's it, you're done. You've made it. He wants especially young bands to see Bloodstock as this opportunity. You go there, you make a splash, you cause a scene, and everyone goes home talking about you. And the next time you can go back to Bloodstock and you can play a bigger stage. Or you go and play your own shows in London and people travel from Coventry to come and see you. It's wicked. It's been such a wicked springboard. And we have so many fans on, Instagram and Facebook and whatever who send us messages regularly just to say, we can't wait to see you guys again. And we saw you at Bloodstock and all this sort of stuff. And it's really humbling. It's really nice. It's very heartwarming. But it just makes you want it so much more. You play one show like that, like we did at Bloodstock, and it will never be enough again. I'm broken now. But I think that
there's a little cherries, everything. There's a hell of a lot of work goes into everything else that we do. So the amount of rehearsal time, writing time, and then you travel 4 hours across the country and don't play to many people, then go home again. Why? What was that really for? But if you enjoy all of that stuff, then you enjoy the bigger stuff even more. And I
Absolutely.
love it. We always have a good laugh wherever we go. But when we get to do stuff like that Bloodstock show, it just makes it so much sweeter.
It really is, and I think that like I've kind of always said I'd rather play to the maximum amount of people possible rather than the coolest, biggest venue or whatever. If you put us on at Manchester Academy, it wouldn't, you just would never get anywhere near filling that room. But we played at Boom in Leeds, again, right. A wicked little venue. When we turned up for sound check, it's like that we played Boom 2, which is the smaller stage in Boom, and we walked in and we were sound checking, and like, this room is literally a concrete box. There were no windows. There's literally, it's tiny, this room, but we absolutely door to door rammed it. Like, there were people queuing down this little corridor bit because you just could not get in the room. And it was one of the most fun gigs I've ever played. It was tiny, but it was just amazing. Just like vibe wise was just unrivaled. It was absolute quality. And I think
only the Righteous' merch table was broken.
Oh yeah, we broke only the Righteous' merch table. Sorry about that.
Telling him that either, so comeuppance.
Yeah, but I think playing the small gigs to nobody makes you appreciate the small gigs that are full, which makes you appreciate the bigger gigs that are full, which makes you appreciate the Bloodstocks. Do you know what I mean? You do all of the hard stuff, and you do all of the stuff that you maybe at the time don't want to do as much, and so that you can get the opportunity to do the bigger stuff.
Yeah, they're like stepping stones, I guess, to the bigger plays.
Mate, 100%. 100%. It's all a part of the whole. It's all a piece of the puzzle. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes being in a band is hard. I think a lot of people, look at people in bands and, you go easy, you lot, you're old dossers. We're not, I promise. It can be hard. Like, you go and we played Derby Altfest at the Hairy Dog in Derby, and that was a Thursday night, and we all went over. And Derby is probably 2.5 hours for all of us. So we went to Derby, we played at 8:30, whatever it was, and then we stayed there and watched the rest of the bands and made ourselves aware and made ourselves known. And then we probably all set off at 11 and we got home at 1, 2 in the morning and showered and got ready for them, got in bed, went to bed at 3 in the morning and then got up at 6 to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you burn yourself pretty low sometimes, but you just get by that on sheer adrenaline. You get by that because you absolutely love it. You absolutely love it. You know, we're sort of sat here now talking about these smaller gigs with nobody there. That's not to say we don't enjoy them, because we do. We absolutely love them. We absolutely love them because those sorts of gigs, you get a connection with those people in the crowd that you just can't get at bigger gigs. You can't look at everybody the same all the time. So you do create these little connections, and I'll be on stage and pick a person in the crowd and just say, this one's for you. You specifically, this is your song. And that's really nice, man. That's awesome. You can get off stage and you can be like, you know, you're face to face with someone who watched you do your thing, and they're face to face with somebody who was just on the stage 5 minutes ago. And that's a really nice connection. That's a really lovely thing to experience. So yeah, I enjoy them all equally. Yeah.
The connection we had with the crowd in York was a bit odd.
Oh, mate, York was insane. We played this little place called the Fulford Arms. Again, what a wicked venue. To be honest, we've not had a bad venue yet. They're all lovely. But yeah, we played in Fulford, and we've got a new single coming out.
Right.
And I don't know if our manager wants me to tell you what its name is, but I'm gonna. So we've got a new, So we've got a new single coming out called Brace, and it is just 2.5 minutes of absolute viciousness. It's horrible. It's just it's so heavy. And so we kicked into this track, and there was this pit going on at the front, like these lads just all over each other. And then all of a sudden, I've never seen this before in my life, but all of a sudden these two lads start scrapping, like actually fighting,
right,
in the pit. And I've never seen that before in my life. Now, having stood back and spoke to both of these lads at the end, I think one of them was maybe a little bit worse for wear and might have had one too many Vimtos. But yeah, so they start actually scrapping in this pit. So anyway, I jumped down off the stage and I'm pushing them apart and say, right, that's quite enough of that. Thank you very much. Any more of that, and we won't want any more of it. We don't allow that shit when we're playing the show. So stop it. So anyway, they did stop, and they came apart from each other, gave each other a cuddle, and it was all fine, big misunderstanding, whatever. And then whilst I was watching this, and whilst I was sort of getting them ready, I realised that we were in a small sort of 10-second instrumental bit in the middle of this song called Brace. And I was like, right, 3 seconds from now, this song's about to drop again, and I'm in the middle of the pit. So so it went off again, and it was great, and it was wicked, and everyone had a great time. But sometimes you make a deeper connection with the crowd than maybe you would otherwise.
An interesting day.
We mentioned like a new song there, and you mentioned before that you're playing some songs that haven't been released yet in some of your sets. What kind of direction are they going in terms of what we know of Waterlines so far?
I think we just constantly want to keep people guessing. We constantly want to push the boat out a little bit further. So for Brace, as an example, which is going to be our next single, we wanted to just write something that was just heavy, just aggressive, and we just wanted to I don't know, man. We kind of thought, well, we've done a little bit of this and we've done a little bit of that, and we just thought, right, well, let's just kind of stick it in one direction where we just want this to be aggressive and heavy. So let's do that for 2.5 minutes. So that's what we did with Brace, and I think that people are gonna get that, and they're gonna feel it, and it's gonna hit all the right spots. But then in other tracks now, we've got Simon, our drummer, does a lot of our writing. Mate, he's wicked. He is 11,000 times the musician that I will ever be, and he is great. And so he just listens to. We've got a running joke, me and Si, where we just say we don't even really like metal. We just want to listen to drum and bass all the time. So Si's well into his drum and bass, and he likes his dance, and he likes all these different types of music. So he'll just sort of, it's almost like he challenges himself. he'll pick a song, he'll pick a style of music and say, I bet I can't write a metal song out of that, and then does it. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. But it's so fresh. It's so nice to hear something that you otherwise would never ever have put a heavy beat to, and it's so good. It's so much fun to write. So I think with like what direction are we taking it in, will always be Waterlines. If you like Waterlines now, you're not going to go off Waterlines. It's not going to be, oh, they've changed, they're not the same as they used to be. We're always going to be Waterlines, but I think we'll always push a little bit further one way or the other. So we might write a song that is just heavy, but then we might write a song that's all dancey and drum and bassy and bouncy, but then we might write one that's really melodic. They'll all be from the same, they'll all be cut from the same cloth. They'll all be Waterlines, but they'll just be which way we decide to twist the dial. So yeah, I think if you like Waterlines now, you're in for a right treat. And I think if you haven't found us yet, I think now is a really good time to get involved, because I think we're recording. I think we're recording some really good stuff at the minute.
Is it going to be like singles again, like you've been doing so far, or is it an EP? And what are you kind of aiming for at the moment?
Well, we were taking it one at a time. We're taking it one song at a time and thinking, right, well, let's just get one song right. Let's get it recorded, let's get it sorted, and then we'll release it as a single, which is what we've done up until this point. And then I think just due to this amazing synergy that we've got as a band and this amazing friendship that we've created as a band, it isn't a hardship. We don't find it difficult to write music. We love writing music. So we kind of just accidentally wrote a load of songs. And now we've got like 8 or something in the background that we're working on that are all like somewhere between 70 and 100% done. So I think we will keep releasing a couple of singles just to keep showing people what we've got, letting people know we're alive. Yeah. I think it's very, very likely that there will be a collection of some description in the future, whether it's a short EP or whether it's a slightly longer, dare I say album, probably not. But, we're just writing because we love it at the minute, and we love it so much that we're writing more than we ever intended to, and more faster than we ever intended to. So I think we're in a really nice, really convenient place at the minute where it's just coming out and it just keeps coming out thicker and faster and better. So I think it's a really good time to be a Waterlines fan.
We like road testing the songs as well, much to our manager's chagrin, I suppose. Stop playing stuff. They want to test them.
Yeah, it was like one of the first things she said to us when we took on Marianne, and she was like, so what does your set look like? And we were like, oh, we play this song, this song, this song. I've never heard those songs before. Yeah, they're not released. They're unreleased material. You can't play unreleased material live. To which we turned around and said, watch us, Marianne. Watch us. She tries to tame us, does Marianne. She tries to keep us all relatively sensible, but we're inherently not.
Seldom works.
Yeah, it's a full-time job for Marianne just to keep us in check. We're like a zoo, but she is an excellent zookeeper. We needed a zookeeper because we're babies, we're children, and we want to write music and record music, but we don't want to do anything else. So like it's quite tough when you're in a band sometimes, because the writing and the recording music is your passion. That's what you love, and you love to write music because you want to listen to it. And you want to listen to it and write it because you want to play it live, and that's the fun, that's the passionate part of being in a band. But then, like we were discussing before, socials for me is not something I'm particularly passionate about. You've got to do all the PR, you've got to do all the merch, you've got to stock check all your merch, you've got to keep an eye on the band account and PRS and all this stuff going on in the background. That if you are a creative, and if you're a particularly fruity creative who finds it difficult to concentrate anyway, all that stuff is damn near impossible. So you need someone who just keeps the wheels greased and keeps you on the straight and narrow. And Marianne just been a godsend in that respect.
Doing a lot of good for us so far. Really enjoying being in a team with her. We've got a really cracking little team going with us at the moment. It's making it all happen, which is great.
We have. You look at Waterlines on stage and you think Waterlines is 4 people. Waterlines is about 8 people or 9 people. you can't. I mean, some people probably can, but we personally couldn't do everything that it takes to the standards that we want to hit all the time. So when we recognize that we're not as good at something as we should be, we'll bring someone into the fold who does it. We wanted a sound engineer. We didn't want to always rely on there being a sound engineer at the venue and them understanding the sound. So we got our own. And Aaron now is as much a part of the band as I am. Vic, who does our socials, we realised that we weren't as good at socials as we should have been, as we wanted to be. So Vic does it, and she's better than we ever could have expected. So she's now as much a part of the band as Mike is. And we've got all these different people, and Marianne, Sam, who does all our graphics, and all of these different people. I will have forgotten people, but all of these different people who are just better at doing what they do than we are. So, we're just totally blessed to have these people by us and stick with us. And, in lieu of being paid a lot of the time, they're just with us because they love us. And that is, that's a really nice position to be in. We feel very guilty a lot of the time, but we're just hoping that there'll come a day where we can pay them all a wage. So it's coming, I'm sure.
Well, you mentioned new releases before, and also, your kind of influences in like dance and EDM music. And a few weeks ago, you put out your cover of Pretty Green Eyes, which seems to have gone down pretty well. Why cover that song? I mean, when I think of that song, I also think of that song "Now You're Gone" by Bass Hunter.
Yeah.
Like that same era, wasn't it? So
yeah. So
the last to know about this cover. I think Vic knew about
Were you actually the last to know?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, sorry about
that. I was like, what? They've done what?
Well, me and Tom, who is guitarist. So Tom is guitarist 1A, and Mike is guitarist A1. We don't have rhythm and lead. They just both play rock, paper, scissors for which parts they're going to play at the start of a gig. Tom, who is guitarist A and other. So Cy is a very solitary writer, and Cy writes completely on his own, in his own time, and will send stuff over when it's done. Whereas me and Tom, we bounce off each other quite well. So I do a little bit of writing with Tom, and we're writing one day. We're probably struggling for a little bit of inspiration, maybe sort of banging our head against the brick wall a little bit and thinking, right, okay, we need to stop and do something different for a little bit. So let's try something else. So we wandered around doing something else for a bit, and I just turned around to Tom and just went, should we cover Pretty Green Eyes by Ultrabeat? And Tom just went, yeah, fucking right, let's do it. that's just basically what happened. It was literally out of nowhere, and we just I don't know. I think it was just a weird little memory from being in high school or whatever, and just thinking, oh shit, I remember that song. And personally, I think it's an absolute bop. So yeah, let's go for it. Let's try it. And we wanted to, remain true to it so that people could sing along. And there's a really there's an iconic sort of flute sound at the start of the song. So when the song kicks in, it goes, oh, and everyone knows it. So we wanted to remain true to it, and we wanted people to be able to sing along to it and stuff. But we also wanted to add that obviously Waterlines flavour to it. And yeah, it's gone down the storm so far. It's been wicked. We never wanted to. We never do want to be a cover band. It's not what we're about. But it was quite nice to just do something a bit different, keep it fresh. And I think that me and Tom, I want to say writing that cover. I guess you don't really write a cover, but rewriting the cover in our way, it did. It opened the floodgates back up for us, and it did inspire us, and it did move us on to the next song and all this sort of stuff. So, every now and then, you're not too good to do a cover. So yeah, it worked.
So what was it like kind of bringing it on you then, Mike? Like just learning last minute, oh, okay, we're doing this. We're doing this song then, aren't we?
Sometimes that with the song we're about to release, I think we wanted to play it at the next show we were playing, which meant it needed to be organized on the laptop for backing tracks and whatnot. I had to program lights because we bring a light show with us, and then I had to try and learn the thing. And the software on my laptop wasn't working very well, so I had to have a video call with Tom. How do we play this? Because God bless him, Cy writes a lot of the tunes. He doesn't really write things in a way a guitarist would write things. He doesn't think about how it's going to be played. So that's down to usually Tom to tab it out and figure out, and then I'll learn it from there. It was a bit of a stressful week, but we managed it.
So I think the first time we ever played that song all the way through, from start to finish as a band, was probably in the sound check. before we played the gig. But it was all fun.
It was fun. Yeah, I don't mind it. The fact that we put pressure on ourselves to get things done for the next show or whatnot, I think it certainly keeps us on our toes. Whether we're going to do that for February or not, I'm not sure. We haven't even organised a rehearsal yet. We should probably get on that. But yeah, it's all good. We like to keep the pressure on ourselves, and whether Marianne likes it or not, we like putting something new in the set for ourselves as much as anyone else. If it doesn't work live, then it's not going to work at all.
We mentioned that tour in February, so that's supporting Cowboy, Jump Ship and October Ends, is that right?
Yeah, it certainly is. I am so excited for that tour. I'm so excited. So it's a tour split across 2 weekends. So there's a northern leg and there's a southern leg. So we got the northern leg, and then our management mates, Crushed by Waves, got the southern leg. So we've got, I think it's from the 15th, it's 15th, 16th, 17th and 18th of Feb. So from the Thursday to the Sunday. And we do Glasgow, Newcastle, Leeds and Manchester. And it's all in these kind of tiny little intimate venues and stuff. And we're playing with, bands like Cowboy, Jump Ship and October Ends, who have no right playing those tiny little venues. So it's going to be absolute chaos. I can't wait. Because it's just, like I say, just these small little venues sometimes. That we're playing a venue in Leeds called Santiago's, which is tiny. It's maybe 100 capacity. But playing a venue of that size with bands of that quality is special, is something really special. I remember watching While She Sleeps at the Key Club in Leeds, which is, I don't know what the capacity is, but I bet it's 200, something like tiny. And this was only about 2 years ago. So While She Sleeps were at the height. And they absolutely, oh my God, it was the best gig I've ever been to in my life. Best gig I've ever been to in my life, because the crowd was just rammed in like sardines and everybody wanted to be there. Like everybody, there were no spectators at that show. Everybody was involved. Everybody was a part of that show. And if I can recreate just a little bit of that in our shows, that's what it's all about. So yeah, I'm telling you, those shows will be unbelievable. So get on our socials, Waterlines, We Are Waterlines, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Get involved and go and find those shows and get a ticket, because they're going to be sick. And we've also got new merch, which is sick. It's quality. I'm wearing it now, but this is, you can't see it. So yeah, come and see the show, come and buy some merch and bounce around and act like idiots. It's going to be amazing.
And what else is planned for Waterlines so far in 2024 that you can talk about that Marianne's not going to shout at you if you mention it?
Marianne shouts at me for saying my own name. She doesn't really. But anyway, so we've got, like I say, there's probably 6, 7, 8 tracks on in the background, which each one is more banging than the one before it. So they're going to be wicked. So we're doing a lot of writing, a lot of recording. There'll be music videos, there'll be singles, there's probably going to be an EP, and we've got lots of gigs coming up. So there's going to be, we're kind of really gearing up for this February run at the minute, but we've sort of got we've got it in our heads that once that February runs out of the way, we've got a gig dump, and there's loads booked for later in the year. We're playing with some wicked bands, we're playing at some excellent venues. So yeah, we've got a gig dump after February. So first, come and watch us in February. And then once you've watched us in February, we'll be playing at other places near you. So come and watch us again later in the year. And I guess on the February tour, because we've got the northern leg, we're not going any further south than Manchester. So if you are further south than Manchester, don't worry, because we're coming down.
We'll be all over the shop this year.
Yeah, we will.
Big year for us. It's second year as Waterlines. We've sort of got ourselves together a bit more. So we'd always plan to hit this year as hard as possible, and that we shall.
And if anybody wants to go and pester Bloodstock to put us on the Sophie stage, that's all right too. That would be fine. Or if anybody from Bloodstock's watching right now, I'm just saying, pause on Sophie stage, because we went on Jaeger and we were sick, and we'll be on Sophie stage and we'll be better. So
do it.
So do it. Yeah. What are you playing at? Like,
going back to the social thing, the storm that kicked up the Monday that we were home from Bloodstock. I think I actually cried at one point because it was it lit up like a Christmas tree. Everyone was sending us videos on Instagram, tagging us and stuff. People were mentioning us in Bloodstock's own posts online. It was just, oh, and I know
a lot to take in.
It was wicked.
It was a lot.
It was wicked. Like we had, I think that, you know, people, a lot of people are inherently lovely, but I think that people saying that Waterlines were in their top 3 bands alongside Killswitch, Engage, and Meshuggah was just like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What a stupid thing to say. But it's just, it was wicked. It was so good. It was so much fun, and honestly, like just to see everybody so buzzing with the show that we put on was great. It was wicked.
Awesome.
No, I love it. We had a really good little run of festivals in 2022 before we became Waterline. I think Ben's second show with us was with that Download Takeover. No pressure. But yeah, I love playing festivals, so I'd happily spend my entire summer just going to different festivals and playing different stages. That would be a dream.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. I'm looking forward to what you do in 2024. Thanks for coming on to the podcast as well. We appreciate you having a little chin wag with me. And it's been really cool. Before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening, any final words, anything you want to say, anything you want to plug, the floor's yours.
Waterlines don't give a fuck. Go hard and then go home and go to bed. And then wake up in the morning and go to work. Well, what else do we like to say to people? Yeah, just come to a show. Just don't be a loser all your life. Come to a show and party with Waterlines and just love it, man. It's sick. But yeah, for everyone who is an old Waterlines fan and has been for the last year or whatever, thank you. We couldn't have done it without you. We don't want to do it without you. So keep coming back and keep coming and watching us and geeing us up and giving us all your praise and all your love, because we love it, and that's why we do what we do. And then, if you're not yet a Waterlines fan and you've been listening to us waffle on for any period of time in this podcast, then I promise we're good. I'm not making it up. Like, I'm sure loads of bands say, yeah, we're right good us, but they're not actually, they're not actually that good. Whereas we say, oh yeah, we're right good us, and we are actually right good. So yeah, go and check us out. I'll be really sad if you don't.
Guilt tripping.
Sometimes you got to go for the dirty tactics, mate.
Dude, sometimes, yeah. Well, thanks again, guys.
Man. Thank you for having us on.
Take care of yourself. See you later, guys.
See you later, dude.
Bye. And that is it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast, then please leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. If you want to support the podcast further, you can go and give it a follow on social media, pick up something from the merch store, or subscribe to the Patreon to get early access to episodes. All the links can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again, hopefully catch you on the next one, and remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.